I have a message from someone important in your life, and it carries real weight. Before you dive in, take a deep breath, because what follows is serious. Sighs. This message comes from a place of quiet distance, a space of hidden regret, and it's reaching you now because every moment matters. Welcome to. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss anything. Every video here has the power to shift the way you see things, often in ways you never expected. Your person has been holding back emotions for much longer than they ever admitted, longer than you probably realized. They didn't just wake up one day and stop caring, or act as if they could move on. They buried feelings they weren't ready to face, and those feelings never truly disappear. They grow silently until they can't be contained any longer. Pause. Right now, this message is fueled by panic, not calm. Your person isn't at peace. They feel adrift in their mind, heart, and spirit. Something recently triggered them. Maybe they saw something that reminded them of you, heard your name, or found a quiet moment that forced the truth into focus. Whatever it was, it shook them awake. They're now staring at a realization that terrifies them. They might lose you forever. This awareness didn't arrive gently. It hit them in the quiet of the night, when distractions faded, phones felt empty, and laughter with others seemed hollow. In those silent moments they had no choice but to confront the questions they'd been avoiding, and the answers stung deeply. They've noticed something undeniable. No one else feels like you. No one listens the way you do, understands them without judgment, or makes them feel safe without overwhelming them. That presence, that connection, created a sense of urgency unlike anything else. Urgency isn't always about love. It's often born from fear, the fear of losing something irreplaceable. If your person could speak freely, without fear or pride, they would tell you they should have acted sooner. They thought time was on their side, and they never imagined you would pull away. Now they're learning a hard truth. Doing nothing is still a choice, and that choice cost them the closeness they once had with you. They regret not stepping up when it mattered most, not saying what needed to be said, and not having the courage to be honest when you needed the truth. Back then, staying silent felt safer. Keeping distance felt like control, and avoiding confrontation seemed like strength. But avoidance always comes at a cost. Your person struggles to express their emotions, not because they don't feel, but because they feel too much and aren't sure how to manage it. Opening up felt like a risk of rejection. Vulnerability felt like surrendering power, and admitting the truth meant facing parts of themselves they weren't ready to meet. As Carl Jung said, what is hidden in your mind will rule your life until you bring it to light. Your person lived this reality without realizing it, letting fear and pride dictate their choices instead of confronting their true feelings. They chose to let silence speak for them, and now those hidden decisions have created consequences they can't ignore. They can feel the shift in you, even if you haven't said a word. This is crucial. Your energy, your presence, it's different now. Your responses have changed, and your quietness carries more weight than any words ever did. You may still care, but you're no longer chasing answers, no longer explaining yourself, no longer waiting in sadness. That shift terrifies them because they leaned on your patience and kindness far more than they should have. They assumed you would always stay soft, always waiting while they remained closed off. They thought there would always be time, that your heart would never move on. But now, they see that you've chosen yourself, and that choice is undeniable. What they fear losing isn't just you, it's the sense of being seen the way you made them feel. They're realizing that the emotional home they once took for granted can't be rebuilt easily. Not every connection can be recreated, and not every bond is replaceable. This question haunts them in quiet moments, during comparisons, and whenever they notice that no one else comes close to you. That's where the urgency comes from, not control, but the stark awareness that time is slipping away. They sense a door closing, not with a bang, but with a soft, quiet click that feels irreversible. They want to reach out, to apologize sincerely, without excuses, but fear still holds them back. Fear asks, what if it's too late? What if they don't care anymore? They hesitate, drafting messages they never send, rehearsing conversations in their mind while that sense of urgency grows heavier. This isn't a promise that everything will be fixed. It's a confession. They're admitting they were wrong to take you for granted and are scared they've caused too much damage. Facing the truth too late is painful because control has already slipped from their hands, but the important thing is what this means for you. This message doesn't ask you to act or wait. It simply reveals the truth. You mattered more than they showed, and your absence echoes louder than your presence ever did. What happens next is entirely your choice. Urgency from them doesn't force change, because feeling panic doesn't mean someone is truly ready. They're finally confronting the consequences of their past behavior and seeing the reality of what they lost. They replay old moments in their mind, now seeing them through the lens of loss instead of ego. They remember how you checked in, how you tried to understand, how you met them on a level they weren't ready to handle. Carl Jung once spoke about the burdens we carry from our past, and your person has been avoiding emotional growth for a long time. Now, even your silence feels exposing. What used to feel like space now feels like distance. They notice that you're no longer waiting, no longer bending your life around their confusion. They fear you've found peace without them, that you no longer need explanations or validation. You've moved on quietly. That realization terrifies them because they counted on your presence, not perfection, just consistency and attention. They see now that when you offered your heart, they chose comfort over bravery, hiding behind excuses. That choice stings because the offer isn't there in the same way anymore. They feel the shift in how you communicate, the way you no longer prove your worth, and they understand that patience has its limits. Now, they are caught between wanting you and being afraid of the effort it takes to keep you. This is why their energy feels so unsettled. They're not at peace because their actions haven't matched their feelings. In their mind, they imagine doing better, but reality demands they actually follow through. And that's where fear stops them. They worry about letting you down again, not just once, but in a way that could be permanent. You, on the other hand, are no longer waiting for words. You're looking for real change. You've grown, done the hard work of sitting with your pain, and gained clarity. Your person is only beginning to confront their own struggles. Even if they reach out, things can't simply go back to the way they were. Trust has shifted. They're standing at a doorway. Behind them is the comfort of hiding. In front is the risk of honesty. Doing nothing means losing you, but stepping forward requires facing themselves. You can feel the shift happening. Your person is confronting the consequences of their choices, while you've moved ahead. Loss often whispers quietly before it screams, and they're hearing that whisper now. They realize they no longer know where they stand with you. They see you moving forward, not from anger, but from a place of calm and clarity. That calm terrifies them because it shows that you've made up your mind. They are coming to terms with the truth they tried to avoid, realizing this was never about bad timing. It was about fear. They remember moments when they could have been honest, but chose silence instead. Those small missed opportunities now feel heavy, and they see that you didn't just leave. You quietly changed your life to fit the reality they created, no longer filling in gaps or sacrificing your peace for their attention. They notice your transformation. You no longer lean in, no longer try so hard to be understood, and that steadiness is what unsettles them most. Your calmness signals that you have set boundaries, that you are no longer waiting for them to change on your schedule. They're caught between the person who hides and the person who grows, and the path to growth comes with pain, which they are feeling now. You were a mirror showing them their potential, and they turned away. Now they feel disconnected from themselves, realizing that avoiding growth only makes the awakening more painful. They respect that you didn't crumble when they left, that you chose yourself, and that respect forces them to face the truth. They can't return with half-hearted effort. Their struggle to grow doesn't dictate your value. You've evolved into the person you were meant to be, and you don't need their approval. The version of you who would bend for them is gone. Life and disappointment have shifted your perspective, and that change has altered who you are compatible with. Your person knows that if they tried to reach you now, you would listen calmly, and that realization intimidates them more than anger ever could. It shows that you are in control of yourself and that you have been transformed in a way they can't undo just to make them feel better. They want connection without confronting the difficult parts of themselves, and that tension is what keeps them frozen. They see clearly that you no longer need excuses to feel okay. You left because caring wasn't enough. You needed someone who was actually present. They're grieving the version of you who waited, and that grief forces honesty, but it comes far too late. They're beginning to acknowledge their role in the distance between you, but fear still makes them hesitate. Facing the truth means they can no longer hide, and you are no longer someone they can be vague with. Your job isn't to rescue them from their discomfort or make life easier for them. Your responsibility is to honor the progress you've made, to respect the clarity you've achieved. You don't respond to panic, you wait for things to be right. Hearing someone realize your worth too late may feel satisfying, but that is not the goal. The goal is what you do with your new life. Panic is not readiness. Don't let empathy pull you back into a situation that wasn't healthy. You have reached a point where you stopped waiting and started living. You've endured the loneliness of loving someone who wasn't truly present, and in that process, you learned the difference between a spark and real safety. They are just now realizing that a relationship takes work, not just feelings. They're not villains, but you are not responsible for fixing them. You've already chosen yourself. If they speak, you'll hear them with clarity and know whether they've genuinely changed or are simply afraid. You don't have to step backward to help them. Their rush doesn't define your worth. You've become who you are without needing permission, and your clarity and calm show that evolution has shifted the person you're compatible with. They sense that the version of you who would have done anything for them is gone. Your perspective, shaped by disappointment and growth, has changed you, and they are only beginning to realize it. Your person sees that you wouldn't accept breadcrumbs or games anymore. They recognize that you've prioritized your happiness over their potential. They're mourning the old you while understanding they aren't strong enough to meet the new you. Love isn't something you can take down from a shelf. It requires a safe environment to thrive. You removed that environment when they refused to help you build it. Watching from afar, they are learning that true power isn't holding someone's heart hostage. It's having the strength to walk away when that heart isn't honored. You have become that person, living fully in the reality of your life, while they remain stuck in what-ifs. The urgency your person feels now is a sign they're finally catching up to the reality you accepted months ago. They're beginning to feel the weight of the space they left behind, the absence they once thought you'd overlook. But their awakening is their journey, not yours. You've already arrived at a place of peace. Keep standing in your truth, honoring your boundaries and moving toward your own growth. You've done the hard work, and now the universe is simply aligning everything around the version of you that knows your worth. Your person is starting to see that the silence between you isn't just a pause. It's a mirror reflecting every moment they chose to be absent. For months, they assumed they could return whenever they were ready, But you didn't just change the lock. You moved to a new home entirely. That realization hits hard. They feel the cold truth that you are no longer an option, they are now a memory. Their regret turns into respect as they watch how you handled their inconsistency with grace instead of bitterness. They see that your calm wasn't weakness, but a reflection of your willingness to honor yourself. That awareness stings because they never matched your energy. The panic they feel now isn't about anger, it's the quiet fear of your total indifference. They recognize that you've reached a place where you no longer need their presence to be happy. Seeing your balance and wholeness, they feel a silent panic, as if they're shouting into a canyon and hearing nothing back. They're realizing the hardest truth. Your peace is the real consequence of their silence, not your anger. You moved on, not with resentment, but with clarity and self-respect. They can no longer blame circumstances, timing, or luck for the distance. They have to look in the mirror and face the fact that they weren't brave enough to love you the way you deserved. The weight of that realization is heavy, but it's also a catalyst for their growth. And while they wrestle with what they've lost, you continue walking forward, strong, steady, and fully aligned with your own worth. Your journey is your own, and your peace is your greatest statement. This realization is transforming them. Even if they never find the courage to tell you, the pain of losing you has become stronger than their fear of change. They are finally seeing that you were a once-in-a-lifetime connection, and they treated it like something ordinary. Now, they're left alone with the silence they once used as a shield, and that emptiness is heavy. For you, this is the ultimate victory, not because you got them back, but because you reclaimed yourself. You are no longer a passenger in someone else's emotional journey. You are driving your own life. Your intuition was right, your heart was in the right place, and leaving was necessary. You've created space to walk into a future where you no longer need to justify your worth to anyone. Your growth is your true closure. You don't need their apology because you've already turned your pain into power. That strength now guides you toward a love that is consistent, safe, and fully present. Your person is watching from a distance, finally understanding the weight of the space they left behind. They are realizing the quiet truth. The greatest consequence of their absence wasn't your anger, it was your peace. They are coming to terms with the fact that they cannot blame timing, circumstance, or luck. They simply weren't brave enough to love you the way you deserved. You've won the hardest battle by choosing yourself. Their rush, their panic, their longing, none of it changes the fact that you are whole, balanced, and no longer waiting for anyone to validate your worth. They see the life you've built, one that no longer has a hole shaped like them, and it hits them with both awe and regret. You've moved on, leveled up, and your growth is the proof that the most powerful love starts with yourself. That clarity, that strength, and that peace are yours, and nothing they feel now can take it away.